and number 039 Rhonj and number 039, star Margaret Josephs sounds off on beef with a number 039 Theatrical and Hormonal and number 039, Siggy flicker. Tensions are high on this season of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, particularly between Margaret Josephs and Siggy Flicker, who Margaret described to TooFab as beautiful yet over the top, theatrical and hormonal in an interview ahead of Wednesday's episode. Siggy told TooFab last month she was very blindsided by Margaret, who she introduced to the Bravo series via their connection through a mutual friend. Siggy added that she was extremely hurt and shocked over what transpired between them. But on this week's episode, Siggy sets her differences aside and invites Margaret to a woman's empowerment retreat, only to call her out for their ongoing feud in front of everyone on the very first day. View story: I thought I handled that pretty well, but if the shoe was on the other foot, she would have had a stage 27 meltdown and walked out, Margaret told said. But as the woman I am, I took it for what it was. That's her style, calling people out. During what was intended to be a mending exercise between the ladies, Margaret ends up impersonating Siggy's meltdown over Melissa Gorga and Arisa Giudice throwing the former's birthday cake at each other during a previous episode. But Margaret told TooFab that the point of the exercise was to show how other people perceive you. We did do some role-playing, which maybe she didn't take as well, Margaret explained. But that's the way I perceive her, she's extremely theatrical and she's a big personality. I think that's the way a lot of people see her, but I don't think that's the way she sees herself. Everybody is not totally self-aware. And Dolores probably wanted to laugh but was holding it in for fear of backlash, she added. Margaret's relationship with Dolores Cantania is also strained because she feels Dolores kisses Siggy's ass. She basically said to me that she never sees Siggy doing anything wrong, that she has blind allegiance towards her, Margaret said. It's a little enabling. I'm not saying she always agrees with Siggy, but you have to go with the truth and what's right. Even if it's your closest friend, you have to be upfront with them if they're acting schmucky, and I don't feel Dolores does that. Dolores is feuding with Danielle Staub this season over the latter telling Teresa that Dolores said, "Teresa only cares about money." Dolores adamantly denies having said that, but Margaret seems to think she did. I do believe she said it because Danielle has no reason to make up a story, Margaret explained. I think she said it, but I don't totally think it was in that context. I'm sure it was said in a way that Dolores just said it in passing, not to gossip. I think she was just telling Danielle, Teresa's super busy. Don't feel offended if she can't always be with you, the relationship may not be as close, she has to work, she cares a lot about money. I don't think it was intended with malice. Margaret also admitted to buying into Danielle's theory that Siggy only invited Margaret to the retreat to show the world how good of a relationship expert she is. I didn't think it at first, but as things are unraveling, it's a possibility. It's a good possibility, Margaret said. I think it was a double-edged sword. Siggy wanted to possibly make up, but she is a self-proclaimed relationship expert, and she has to work on her relationships. I think it maybe was a combination of self-serving. I don't like to think that way, but when Danielle pointed it out, Danielle is pretty perceptive. The Real Housewives of New Jersey airs Wednesday nights on Bravo.